kind of gave this one away a little bit earlier, but not really. Coca-Cola. I'm going to just cruise through some of these. There was a lot of controversy around the Beijing Olympics, and we asked, really before the Olympics, whether any of this controversy would taint any of the sponsors, and people in our industry felt that it really wouldn't, although there was some disagreement about that, and I think that came to be true, that nobody was really tainted by any of that. Which of the Winter Olympic sports makes its athletes the most marketable? I'll give you two choices. Ice hockey or figure skating? Figure skating. All right, that was too easy. All right, figure skating by a mile. We asked a question here. Federal bailout money. Federal bailout money. Boy, I mean, this is one of those situations where I get reamed because we go out and we'll ask a question, and we're asking the question. We don't give the answers. The consumers answer the questions. But sometimes we wind up coming up with data that some of our clients don't necessarily like. This happened to be one situation where we did, and I think I got a couple others here. All right, which sponsor category is most likely to reduce spending? I think this is pretty easy, and I think that will wind up being the case. Who's going to be the next automotive sponsor for Tiger Woods? Because Buick is now out. And so let's see if you guys are in line with what the industry insiders say. Who says it's going to be Lexus? Who says it's going to be BMW? People in our industry seem to think Lexus would be his next automotive industry sponsor. Kind of an interesting finding about whether or not fans are streaming live sporting events. The general population, for the most part, has never done it. But people in our little industry are doing it on occasion and maybe even frequently. So the people that are working in sports right now are a little bit more ahead of the general population in terms of streaming stuff off the internet.
Len?
Yes, sir.
Sorry about you.
No problem.
Live streaming, are you talking about MLB TV, or are you talking about any type of live events that's streaming, for example, some sort of surfing competition?
Any live sporting event, actually putting that sporting event on your computer and streaming it broadband. So MLB TV would count for that. Okay. A couple more. Are women's sports better off compared to 5 years ago? We asked it twice. We asked it in March of 2005. We asked it again about a year later, February 2009. And I think a lot of what you see here is the result of the economic climate affecting the money that will be available through sponsorships and otherwise, and equity investment in women's sports. So, real question out there as to how successful this new soccer league can be. We're going to continue to ask this question. This one, who are All-Star games really for? We did not ask this question to general sports fans. We only asked this to the Turnkey Sports Poll, which is, people that own teams and run teams, and they said fans, league sponsors number 2. But my guess is that if you went into the last couple of markets that had an All-Star game and asked baseball fans, they might answer this question a little bit differently. Can action sports retain fans as they get older? The industry says yes, they can. And I'm not sure about that. Has fan interest in All-Star games changed in the last 5 years? Some people seem to think that the All-Star concept is losing some of its luster. We do a lot of work with Frank Sapovitz at the NFL. They've just recently taken the Pro Bowl and moved it ahead of the Super Bowl because they've lost an awful lot of interest in the Pro Bowl following the Super Bowl. Expansion best for which league? People seem to think that MLS is the team that will have the most expansion in the next coming years. Has the allure of a new facility become less significant to fans? people in our industry seem to think 2/3 to 1/3 know that it hasn't. Which league is the greatest risk to lose players overseas? The industry was really torn on this one. NHL, MLS, NBA. The NFL is really the only one that's safe from losing players overseas right now. How to cement MLS as a major sport? 22% said.
One slide out of many.
Okay. Which niche sport is best, reaches high-end demos? People said sailing in our industry. They're predicting sailing will have some application. And will the economy affect college athletics more than pro sports? More, the same, or less? And people think that college athletics is a little bit insulated from what's going on in the economic climate right now. What has your company done to control expenses? Reduce travel and frozen hiring were the top two answers there. All of you will be facing that. And then this is the last slide. We've actually been tracking this for 10 years. We started asking this about 10 years ago. And really for about 8.5 years, we never saw a blip on this thing. People were always at about the same level. This is confidence level of people that work in sports. And then in April of 2008, you see that the confidence begins to drop, and then in the fall, it goes off a cliff. And now it's starting to come back again. I wanted to end with this slide because I think it demonstrates a very good point, which is that research is meant to be predictive. You can use research in all of your businesses to look into a crystal ball and see how people feel and what's going to happen in the future. And the research that we do is highly predictive. So I would encourage all of you, whether you're actually in research or not, whatever jobs you go to, make sure that you take a little extra time, look at the research, commission research, push research throughout your respective organizations. It can be very helpful to you as you try to read the tea leaves and figure out which way to go with your business. So with that, that's my last slide. I'd like to open it up to questions or